Dear children, how are you? I'm sure you all are fit and fine at home. Children, today I am going to teach you Standard 6 Social Science, Chapter 8. Children, kindly take out page number 69. In the previous class, we discussed the main principles of Ashoka's Dhamma, Ashoka's measure to spread Dhamma. Today, we will discuss about Ashokan edicts. See children, Ashoka was the first Indian ruler to speak directly to his people. He did this by issuing edicts which, children, turn the page number 70, were engraved on rock faces and polished pillars. The edicts were mostly in Prakrit language. The edicts told people about his ideas on administration, behavior of people towards one another and religion. Some of them conveyed the royal orders. The edicts also explained their dhamma. The main purpose of the edicts was to bring his subjects out of ignorance and show them the right path. Ashoka's edicts are of three types. What are that? Rock edicts, pillar edicts, and cave edicts. Children, see rock inscription. Now we will discuss the Mauryan administration. For the first time in ancient India, a completely centralized administration prevailed in the Mauryan period. Kautilya's Arthashastra contained guidelines on how the empire was to be governed. It gives us detail about the Mauryan administration. Administration was carried out by different sets of officials at four main levels: central, provincial, district, and village. Now we will see central administration. The emperor was the most powerful person. The emperor was assisted in the administration by a council of ministers, Mantri Parishad. He was assisted by several officers to collect taxes and keep accounts and maintaining law and order. Second, we will see provincial administration. Province was headed by a prince or a member of the royal family known as Kumara or Aryaputra. The whole empire was divided into four provinces of Magadha, Takshila, Ujjain, and Swarnagiri. Third, district administration. Each province was further divided into several districts. Pradeshta was the head of the district, assisted by Yuktas and Rajukas. They performed their taxes of collection of revenue, evaluation of land, and defense of law and order. 4. We'll see village administration. What is village administration? Each district consisted of many villages. A village headman took care of each village with the help of council. Their important functions were to remain land records, collect taxes, and mark the boundaries of the village. Next is Pataliputra. Pataliputra was the capital city of the Mauryan Empire. Pataliputra was under the direct control of the emperor. The administration of this area was looked by a committee of 30 members. This committee was divided in 6 boards, each comprising of 5 members. Each board looked after specific departments such as 1. collection of taxes. 2. Trade and commerce. 3. Inspection of manufactured goods. 4. Comfort and security of foreigners. 5th. Registration of births and deaths. 6th. Industry. Kautilya writes that the city governor was responsible for the maintenance of law and order in the city. The most complex and well organized system of urban government was the administration of the imperial city of Pataliputra, like measurement of land, providing public utilities, charges of village and smaller districts, grama, vrindas. The village elder was played an important role in Mauryan administration. Next we will see the people and their occupation. In Mauryan Empire, people lived in villages, towns and forests. People spoke different languages, followed different food habits and did different jobs. Agriculture was the principal occupation of a large section of the population. Rice, wheat, pulses, barley and vegetables were grown. Craftspersons produced textiles and made objects from iron, copper, wood, ivory, etc. Traders and merchants carried their goods to far off countries like Burma, Egypt, Syria and Macedonia. A lot of people were employed as government officials for various development activities like construction of roads and buildings. Next we will see art and architecture. In the Mauryan period, stupa and pillars were the most important monuments. The Mauryans built many stupas, biharas and pillars. A stupa is a dome-shaped structure of bricks and stone. The most famous stupa is at Sanchi near Bhopal. Biharas or monasteries were a living place of Buddhist monks. Buddhist monks constructed monasteries or cave homes for themselves. Pillars on which Ashoka's edict was being written are called Ashoka pillars. Animal figures can be found at the top of some Ashokan pillars. One of the most famous Ashokan pillars is located at Saranath, having four lions figure. This lion capital is India's national emblem. See children. Next we'll see revenue system. What is revenue system? A well organized system of tax collection helped to collect revenue to carry out the administrative function and for maintenance of the army. Land revenue was the main source of income. It was fixed between 1/4 and 1/6 of the produce, depending upon the fertility of the soil. Revenue was also obtained from trade, forests, mines, custom duties, fines and gifts were the other sources of income. There were many tax officers who collected taxes. The tax money was used for building and maintaining roads, wells, rest houses, irrigation projects and army. Next is army. The Mauryan army had foot soldiers, horses, elephants and chariots. The army was led by a Senapati. The Senapati regularly reported to the king. A separate department looked after the production of weapons. The Mauryan army was well trained. So now end of the Mauryan Empire. Ashoka died in 232 BC. After him, there were many Mauryan kings including his son who ruled for the next about 50 years. But within 50 years of his death, the Mauryan Empire had ended. There were many reasons for it. What are the reasons? Now we will see one by one. Number 1, large size of empire. 2, anti-Brahman policy. 3. Financial crisis. 4. Weak army. 5th. Oppressive rule. Now the sources of information. The main sources of information about the Mauryan period are 1. Indica written by Megasthenes. 2. Arthashastra written by Kautilya. 3. Rock and Pillar Edict of Ashoka. 4th. Inscriptions. 5th. Coins of the Mauryan period. First we will see Indica. The Indica was written by Megasthenes in Greek. Megasthenes was an ambassador of Seleucus Nicator who spent some time in the court of Chandragupta. Children, turn the page. Arthashastra. Next is Arthashastra. It was written by Kautilya, the Prime Minister of Chandragupta Maurya. In this book, Kautilya explained how an efficient government should be organized. Next, Rock Edicts of Ashoka. Ashoka began to issue edicts after the 12th year of his reign. These edicts proclaimed his ideas on various matters such as religion, good government, and correct conduct towards one another. He got them engraved on rocks and pillars so that people could read them easily. Inscriptions. About 30 kilometers from Gaya, the Ajivika caves have been discovered on the Barabar hills. These caves bear inscriptions on these walls which gave us important information about Ashoka's region. Coins. Punch-marked coins made of silver having various symbols have been found. They indicate information about particular kings or groups of merchants and craft people. Last we will see Ashoka's place in history. Ashoka is known as one of the great kings in the history of India. He was a great conqueror. He expanded his empire like his father, but Kalinga's war turned off his mind. He raised the concept of peace and cooperation, tolerance, and made Buddhism very popular all around the world. He gave the best administration to his subjects. He treated his citizens like his own children. He was very kind to animals also. He opened many hospitals for them. Okay, students, thank you.